will be truly missed. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. And my brother and I both knew Gardner Brooks well through the gym, and he certainly will be missed.
Thank you.
Would you please rise in darkened chambers and moment of silence. We have under the city clerk's portion of the agenda, city council minutes of February 14th, minutes from the Education Partnerships Subcommittee on February 14th, and minutes from the Municipal Facilities Subcommittee also, on February 15th for acceptance. Move for approval by Councilor Kennedy, second by Councilor Broderick. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to suspend the rules to allow for Councilor Martin's motion to be, we have two speakers registered. Motion by Councilor Martin, seconded by Councilor Mercy. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Motion by Councilor Martin, request a city manager report on Comcast's intent to move Lowell Cable Channel 10 to Channel 99 on March 20th, 2012. Seconded by Councilor Broderick. Councilor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm happy to have the speakers go, and then I'll follow up if I could.
Mr. Richard Howe.
Good evening. My name is Richard P. Howe, Jr. I live at 130 Westview Road in Lowell. I'm here on behalf of the Board of Directors of Lowell Telecommunications Corporation to express our surprise and disappointment with the decision by Comcast to move our government access programming from Channel 10 to Channel 99 and to put in its place an NBC shopping network on Channel 10, which of course is owned by Comcast, with all this to be effective March 20th. If you're like me, on Saturday, this red postcard arrived in the mail announcing this change. The LTC board is sending a letter to Comcast protesting this decision and the abrupt way it's being executed. Jessica Wilson, the executive director of LTC, who's registered to speak and will follow me, will provide an estimate to you of the expense in both time and money to which LTC will be put on account of this channel change. But this is not just about LTC, it's also about our viewers. While all of our shows are valuable, government programming is the content on LTC that is watched by the largest number of residents of Lowell. TV watching habits may be changing, but most people still do gravitate to the lower channels, making content on those channels more likely to be seen. By taking government access from Channel 10 and moving it to Channel 99, Comcast will make it more difficult, if even a little more difficult, for citizens of Lowell to keep track of what's going on in local government. Just because Comcast has the power to do it doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. And we asked the council, after due deliberation, to consider joining LTC's protest of this channel change. In closing, no matter what happens with this issue, the LTC board wishes to assure the council and the citizens of Lowell that LTC will continue to provide uninterrupted and convenient access to all existing local governmental affairs programming, no matter what channel it might be on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Howe.
Jessica Wilson.
Thank you very much. And I just wanted to thank Councilor Martin again for filing this motion. My name is Jessica Wilson. I'm the executive director at LTC since the beginning of this year, and I'm really happy to meet you all here in the council chambers. As you know, LTC's mission is to promote free expression, community building, and personal empowerment through technology. As part of that mission, LTC partners with the City of Lowell to bring government meetings, announcements, and original programming into the homes of all Lowell residents via Channel 10. Our programming makes local government more accessible for all of our citizens and empowers people with information to improve their civic engagement. We know that our Channel 10 programming is popular because each time there's a schedule change here at the city or a technical issue at LTC that disrupts normal broadcast, we'll receive dozens of calls from at-home viewers asking what happened to their programming. Without the time or the resources to properly promote this channel lineup change, we anticipate large-scale confusion from our at-home viewers. And we anticipate that this will be a disruption for many citizens who rely on LTC's broadcast for their local government updates. To notify our viewers and our stakeholders of this change will take LTC staff 64 hours and cost $4,300 in resources. This includes over $1,700 in staffing costs, staff time costs, and over $2,500 in other direct costs. It includes redesigning on-air graphics, marketing and redesigning marketing and business materials, printing and creating those materials, making changes to our website, translating our announcements, and then mailing or emailing those announcements out. I've created a detailed budget for your review, which I'll leave here for you to take a look at. But this was obviously not calculated into our annual budget, and no funding has been offered from Comcast to support these efforts. Just for comparison, if this were to happen in the corporate media world, we would have thousands of dollars and months of time to announce this change. For this channel shift, we've received a few weeks and no budget. Of course, we want to support the engagement of our residents and our members in any way possible. And so, as Mr. Howe has said as well, we'll diligently work to communicate this change. I just wanted to share with you and make clear the time, the effort, and the resources that it will take for us to promote this change. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Councilor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I first learned of this development last week. As I think members of the council know, I'm the council representative on the LTC board, and Ms. Wilson had sent around an email to the members of the board, I believe on Wednesday or Thursday last week, and I spoke to Mr. Howe on Thursday, prompted me to file the motion, requesting information, basically. But lo and behold, on Saturday, most of our Comcast subscribers got this card, so it didn't seem like there was any turning back from this decision. But I think it's in addition to what the speakers eloquently said, I think it is important for us to get a report. Number one, do we have any say in this? Is it allowed by the contract? And is there any funding available? I mean, we've been moved around before from Channel 3 to Channel 6 to Channel 10. It's always been in the lower tier of channels, and at times in those prior moves, I think there was some funding available, at least in one of them. That language may no longer be present in this contract, but I think it's important for us to know that. And I think, secondly, it's important for the council to go on record as objecting to this. I think Mr. Howe is absolutely right that we gain some benefit by being, in the top 10 channels. I mean, I think that's where most viewers go, even if it's casually to flip through the channels. But certainly, there's a reason the premier networks are on the lower numbers. And so there may be some loss of viewership, or at least confusion among viewership for this change. So the original motion was to offer, just get the report. But if there's consensus among the council, I think we should also take this opportunity to make a formal registration of our objection as well.
Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's my understanding that WWDP is moving from Channel 72, and I'm wondering why they can't. Why can't they move to 99? They want to move from Channel 72 to 10. Why don't they move to 99 and leave us where we are? I don't understand why that's happening, but I do join LTC in supporting their move, because the statement made is completely true. Just because they can doesn't make it right. I personally don't think it's right. I think a lot of people probably don't know that they could even go past up to the 99 and 100 and all this. They stay at the lower numbers. That, to me, is true. So I do support that, and I was surprised to hear that as well. So if they're going from 72 to 10, what's becoming of Channel 72? I didn't even know that we could have gotten that, but they should be moving to 99, not Channel 10. Thank you.
Counselor Broderick and then Counselor Mendonça.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you to manager maybe or the solicitor. What is our contract with Comcast? What's the deal with this between the city and Comcast? I know we get some monies that can go towards LTC, and how does it all work presently? That this may be avoided in the future, and also I'm assuming based upon what's come before us, there's really not much we can do now other than protest it. But what can we do in the future? I mean, they seem to have a stranglehold on the market, number one. And it's, are we going to be bounced around as the channels expand and someone else wants to pay? I'm assuming Channel 72, whoever they are, W whatever, is paying more money or paying money. And that's why they're getting Channel 10 rather than Channel 72. So I guess by way of a question is, what's the deal now? And is this something we can prevent, or what can we do in the future?
Well, Attorney Fenton, the solicitor's office, handles all of our cable legal work for us, and he and I have been in touch, and we're going to be sitting down in the next day or so to look at the legal options that we have. The Comcast, I think someone indicated that they may have the right to do it. Legally, they in fact may have the right to do it, but we're exploring all of our options here as to what we can do regarding this, and they do pay us. We do get a franchise fee from them for that goes towards the funding of LTC, as well as other technology here in the city. But and they also pay for some capital. Right now they are the only cable provider we have in the city. We've tried to look at RCN. I know former manager Cox looked at RCN, perhaps even former manager Martin. RCN ran into some financial difficulties and didn't expand beyond. Both Manager Cox and myself have reached out to Verizon on numerous occasions to look at Verizon Fios as another option. They have declined to come forward to the city of Lowell, and it appears at this time that the Fios system has been put basically on hold in terms of new communities being added. I saw just the other day a newspaper article that Medford will probably be the last one nationwide for some time. And that's been in the pipeline for a period of time. But with regards to this particular issue, we are looking at the various legal options, and we'll be acting accordingly to certainly council is going to likely issue their protest of this, and the city administration will do the same.
And, just a question, and this is not part of this motion, and I'm not looking for a vote or anything on it, but my understanding was Fios, it's too expensive infrastructure-wise, and that's why it wouldn't work in Lowell. I don't know if there's more to it, or if it's that simple, and I don't, and if they're going to stop at Medford now for some time, that's a business decision as well. But, is there any way we could look into, and if we haven't, maybe we have, grants, some type of, funding to be, we're not the only older city with an old infrastructure that's facing this technology issue, and are there any monies out there potentially down the road? I mean, I know everything's been shrunken down in terms of grants and so on, but it might be available for older cities and towns that might need some help with infrastructure, and it's an economic tool as well. So I don't know what's out there, but I'm just throwing it out there as a potential idea for down the road. Thank you.
Counselor Mendonça.
Yeah, I agree that just because they can doesn't make it right. And I'm actually surprised that even though they can invoke, which I believe is the Shop NBC channel, which is, from my understanding now on 72, is asking to be in the Comcast lineup. Sounds to me like they already are. They're on channel 72. So I don't believe that the FCC rule says they have to get a specific channel. They just should get a channel, and I believe free, in this case, because they're a broadcast channel, and obviously unscrambled for that reason. But they are in a band that can be that already. So I believe that this is just simply a choice by Comcast to move this channel when I don't really believe they need to technologically. And I'd be in favor of getting any information that would clarify any of this for us, because a lot of this are dumbfounded as to why it's going on. And if it hasn't been formally already, I support the amendment to Counselor Martin's own motion to actually have a resolution putting the council as opposed to this move. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on it? Councilor Elliott?
Excuse me, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is there any way this might be this is definitely outside of the window, out of the box thought, but, I mean, DirecTV clearly is the alternative. I know you mentioned FiOS, and they're only going to do so much, but DirecTV. Is there any way for, and I know a number of people have said to me, look, I have DirecTV, I don't see the council meeting, or I would get DirecTV, but it's important to see the municipal channels. We own the equipment. I mean, we own the equipment here. Who owns the equipment at LTC? Is it?
LTC owns that equipment.
LTC does. So is there any way LTC can contract with DirecTV in some form, shape, or manner to be able to broadcast this to DirecTV? And maybe we might get a little bit more of a better response from Comcast if they know that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if that's part of the licensing agreement for 10 years with Comcast, and I know there's a provision they give X amount of dollars to the schools and some to the city. Maybe it's a crazy idea, I don't know, but
It's not necessarily a crazy idea, but it's an idea that might be a bit premature. Comcast does provide a substantial amount of funding that helps operate LTC and provides the municipal viewing. So in some respects, we don't want to bite the hand that feeds us, but on the other hand, they puts them in a position to hold us hostage. So I know strategically LTC is trying to diversify its funding so that, because given Comcast's power in the country, the likelihood that in their efforts to cut costs, they cut back on what they provide the municipality, which would put in jeopardy your ability to televise these meetings, or at least shift it over to the city's budget. We're thinking about that, but it's not something that we can do next week or next month. It's a multi-year approach. But yeah, certainly competition would be useful, but there would be a price to pay for that.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Mendonça?
Yeah, just a quick comment, and if anyone knows more than I, but I believe our agreement for local access, along with other communities, is only with the primary cable provider. And so I know, as Councilor Elliott mentioned, if there is a way to work it out, it would be good. But right now, the other carriers don't have local access, being whether it's satellite or FiOS, is my understanding.
There isn't any FiOS coverage in the city currently. FiOS for cable TV. I believe there's some FiOS for internet use along the Tewksbury line, is my understanding. But and we do have language, we did put language in the last contract that allows for another provider to come into the city, and there's what's known as level playing field language that allows us to do that, but would require that they also make a similar type of franchise agreement with the city with regards to certain contributions for public access TV.
Okay, but I'd like to, if we could, also find out in communities where there is FiOS, do they have local access channels, or is just Comcast or the?
No, they have. They have that as well.
They
have
do?
public
Okay.
access. Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the motion?
Well, could
Councilor Martin?
just Councilor Mendonça offered an amendment for a resolution in opposition, so if I can second that, I'm happy to do it. If anyone else wants to do it, that's fine, but I think it's important for the council to go on record.
Sure. So we'll take on a vote on the motion as amended. Then, would you like a roll call on that, or?
No, doesn't need to be.
Okay. So all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed?
Aye.
So voted. Being 7 o'clock, we'll move to the public hearing portion of the agenda. We have in City Council order of a taking and acceptance of technology drive to take by eminent domain in fee a certain parcel of land in the city of Lowell for municipal purposes, to wit, the layout and acceptance of Technology Drive and other municipal purposes associated therewith. Motion to waive the full reading by Councilor Laurie, seconded by Councilor Mendonça. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Reading by second reading. In City Council order of taking and acceptance of Technology Drive to take by eminent domain and fee a certain parcel of land in the City of Lowell for municipal purposes, to wit, the layout and acceptance of Technology Drive and other municipal purposes associated therewith. At this point, we'll open it up for the public hearing for those wishing to speak in favor. In favor? In favor? Seeing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. We'll open it up for those wishing to speak in opposition. In opposition? In opposition. Seeing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. At this point, I'd entertain a motion to hold this in the clerk's office for 7 days. Motion by Councilor Mendonça, seconded by Councilor Martin. Roll call, please.
Councilor Nguyen. Councilor Broderick.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kennedy.
Yes.
Councilor Laurie.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Councilor Mendonça.
Yes.
Councilor Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 absent.
Moving to the city manager's portion of the agenda, we have communications from city manager responses to city council motions and requests. Councilor Elliott.
Thank you. Mr. Manager, we got an update on the Housing Authority, North Common Village, from your office. Thank you. One of the communications included was from Gary Wallace relative to the motion I made for getting copies of contracts and/or change orders. It indicates that this was done in-house by forced labor, and it cites Code of Federal Regulations, and I went on and I read it. I thought there was a combination of state and federal money for this project, and the law does reference that if there is, I don't want to say commingling, but a combination of use. I mean, this forced labor specifically relates to federal money, and it was both a combination. So I do know, I do know procurement in Massachusetts requires anything over $25,000 to be bid. So I guess what this is saying, there's absolutely no, there wasn't one, they don't have any contracts for any work on an $8 million project. And to me, and you've been in this long enough, that just doesn't make sense to me. I do know there was some plumbing contractors that were also put on, so that work has to be bid, or that were used, excuse me. So while I don't know, I understand the memo, I understand that they use this forced account method, but to me, that says that it's for people that are on staff. Painters, I know they're painters, but I guess I just don't fully understand it, Mr. Manager, and I don't know if you or Mr. Moses, and I know this wasn't your project, but forced account, what does that mean? They're just hiring anybody that they want out of the union halls? I mean, how do you know whether they're qualified, certified, or not? So I'm reading from, the memo from the Housing Authority. I understand you passed it on because that was the case, but I find it difficult to believe in an $8 million project that nothing was bid. So where do we go from here? I mean, this is the answer that, well, it's forced labor. CFR says, that you can based upon certain conditions. The other thing, did HUD sign off on this? Because that is a stipulation that's referenced on more than one occasion in the Code of Federal Regulations. And if it is, then it is. That's a major flaw in the bidding process as far as I'm concerned. But considering the nature of the project, it would seem to me that, I always thought that anything had to be bid. I mean, everything in the city, look at all the projects that we did, the wastewater treatment plant, the water treatment plant. I know that we did some paving with our in-house staff. I mean, they're on our staff. We're not pulling them from a union hall. So I just don't understand it and think that, you know, a better explanation of exactly, because I tried to look it up to find out exactly if that is the case. So I know I'm belaboring the issue. It just, I wanted to ask these questions to find out if you knew, Mr. Manager, if, can you find out how this forced labor thing works and just pulling, you know, craftsmen from here and there, so.
I guess the short answer is that, you know, we pass this along, and we'll, you know, we don't have, as I think you yourself, Councilor, have indicated, this isn't our project. This is, you know, the Housing Authority's project. We can certainly see if we can find a little bit more information on that to help you out with that, and see what we can.
Okay, well, and the question is, and it's why it's our responsibility, is, again, the permitting process, that, you know, contractors typically, or in most cases, contractors would prepare and are responsible for submitting applications. And in order to, you know, you have to, you know, contractors have to be certified, and they have to hire certified staff, they have to pay prevailing wage, so I would have thought that was the case. But absence of that, knowing that there weren't applications. So I'm just trying to follow the trail, Mr. Manager. And again, it says, you know, providing that HUD signed off. If that was the case, I would have thought that. And maybe there's a letter. Maybe I just keep asking, you know, questions. I'm hoping there's a letter that HUD approves this, and maybe there is, but it's just good to cross the Ts and dot the Is.
If I may, that may be sort of the final request is there a letter from HUD that documents that? And beyond that, we're getting into an area that, you know, again, as you pointed out, it isn't our project, and you know, we're sort of tracking down things that outside our realm a bit. But we can ask see if there's a HUD sign off on this. Certainly, that's a possibility.
Okay, thank you. And I know on the asbestos, I know the work was done back in '88, and then there was a little bit of work done. And I say a little bit of work because the second report in here includes Amoresco did some work, and they actually filed an application and did the right thing for 2 lineal feet of asbestos removal. That's the only thing that we have received. That's the only thing that the Housing Authority has submitted on 543 units, or excuse me, 133 units that have been done, 2 lineal feet.
Right. I think that the issue with the asbestos was that they have documentation of asbestos removal going back to those periods of time, and then within the units themselves, the work that was done was some testing that was done in the different units that before and after work was completed to test if there was asbestos.
So when Amoresco did they replaced the hot water pipe, or heating pipe, they took out 2 feet. And since '88, and I understand that report we received in 1988 was for boiler work, just the boiler work and all the underground pipes.
Not in the units themselves.
Right.
Right.
Exactly my point.
Right.
All right. Okay, thank you. I'm presuming there's more than 2 feet of pipe in each unit that had to be addressed, but, okay, thank you, Mr. Manager.
Councilor Mendonça?
Yes, I appreciate getting these weekly updates, and although sometimes it seems slow, there does appear to be progress. One thing I'd like to ask to do is, early on, we received a spreadsheet that had apartments by which permits were not yet issued. If we could have an update of that going forward, not weekly, but once there's a significant change, and then maybe monthly thereafter, until we complete this project. I know that my understanding was if it was blank, that there was something that was needed there. If there's a case where it was blank and it was not applicable, if they would mark it so that it would be clear that that doesn't need to be done. But I'd like to see it fill in until we get the certificate of occupancy for all the units once they're in compliance. If that could be done, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the communications? Seeing none, Motion to accept, place on file by Counselor Broderick, seconded by Counselor Laurie. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Next, we have a communication from the city manager, request approval of out-of-state travel, 1 for the Career Center and 2 for the police.
So moved.
So moved by Counselor Mercia, seconded by Counselor Mendonça. Roll call, please.
Counselor Nuam. Counselor Broderick.
Yes.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy.
Present.
Counselor Laurie.
Yes.
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Counselor Mendonça.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
Mayor,
7 yeas, 1 present and 1 absent.
Counselor Elliott?
Mayor, I know we voted, but while we're on it, these are all paid for by the Law Enforcement Trust Fund. And we did receive a quarterly report, and I should have brought it up under communications, but I think it's important to note that substantial money was taken into that law enforcement account from the last quarter, and being used to offset some of the costs, and maybe we should refer this just for discussion, because it's really a very good thing that the city gets a significant amount of money from drug confiscations, and we put it into this account. We buy radios, we pay for rent for the DEA and other offices at Crosspoint, and really a significant boost to the budget, if you will, the police budget. But it's used for very good things, and I know it's used for travel as well. But it's not costing taxpayers anything, and it's part of our our enforcement. Our enforcement budget. I didn't see anything in the law enforcement for overtime and drug-related operations. So that means you didn't use any for that? Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Did you want to make a motion there to refer it?
I'll just make another motion, Mr.
Okay.
Mayor. I know it wasn't on the agenda, and I think it would just be a good topic discussion for the chief to say, this is the money that we get, and this is what we're using it for. It's for equipment, it's for a lot of good things. So I'll make a motion. Thank you.
Next, we have a communication from the city manager on appointments to the Lowell Historic Board to reappoint Rachel Edlund as the AIA Mass member for 2 years and appoint George Villaris as Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce member for 2 years. What's the wish of the council? Move for approval by Councilor Mendonça, seconded by Councilor Broderick. Roll call, please.
Counselor Nuam. Counselor Broderick.
Yes.
Counselor Elliott. Yes. Counselor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Laurie.
Yes.
Counselor Martin.
Present.
Counselor Mendonça.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes. Councilor Mendonça?
I was just going to ask if the appointee was present.
Right here.
Back of
If
the
he could
room
just
here.
come to the podium so people can see him.
Mr. Villaris.
Thank you. Yes. Good evening, George Villaris from Florida Street. It's a pleasure to serve the city. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Villaris. Mr. Manager?
I'm all set now.
Oh, you're all set, okay. Fair enough. Next, we have a vote to transfer $18,000 from Perpetual Care Interest Fund number 8406 to Cemetery Division Overtime Account appropriation number 04914-151-51300. Vote in City Council, order to bring in Department of Public Works crews needed to get cemetery ready for spring and Memorial Day weekend. Ordered by the City Council of the City of Lowell as follows: that the amount of $18,000.00 be transferred from the Perpetual Care Interest Fund number 8406 to the Cemetery Division Overtime Account appropriation number 0491415151300. Order and recommended and introduced by Bernard F. Lynch. second reading by title, in city council vote to bring in DPW crews needed to get the cemetery ready for spring Memorial Day weekend. It is ordered that the amount of $18,000 be transferred from the perpetual care interest fund number 8406 to the cemetery division overtime account appropriation number 049141151-513000. What's the wish of the council?
Move approval.
Move for approval by Councilor Broderick, seconded by Councilor Mercia.
Yes.
Discussion?
And I have a question as well. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the city manager. Out of curiosity, I'd just like to know the ages, the models of the cemetery vehicles, i.e. like the backhoe and the dump truck. They look a little bit antiquated to me, but that's probably just me. I like to, oh, we might have that right there?
I think we have it somewhere on the computer here.
Might take me a few minutes. Go on with the meeting.
Can I get back to you on that, Council?
Yeah,
While
that's
we're
fine.
waiting,
Thank you.
Councilor Broderick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. I know Councilor Rita Mercia worked with the Cemetery Commission and the manager and your staff coming up with some new rules for the cemeteries. And with Memorial Day coming up, I know there was booklets made, and there were some people that were very active in that. But would it make sense to come up with some, maybe, excuse me, some handouts or a little bit of signage maybe for folks that are making an annual trip or semi-annual that may not be aware of this, that may help so we can prevent any potential, well, try to prevent as much as we can of people losing mementos and things because they're not aware of any rule changes, whether it's signage, you know, people working that weekend that might be able to give out handouts. I think it might be helpful.
We could.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Laurie?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was going to say the same thing. Do we hand out anything to the funeral homes when people buy a lot that maybe the funeral homes would have on?
We give, when someone buys a lot, we give them the book of regulations. And I imagine we also have them at the funeral homes. But it's people deal directly with us on the lots, not with the funeral homes. But we are doing additional signage and and we advertise, but the handouts are another idea that I don't think we necessarily thought of that yet, so we can probably do that as well.
You know, even if we put it in the form of, you know, with a map, I don't know what we do for, you know, signage and maps or anything like that. I understand we probably don't have a large budget for it, but it may be something we can do so that if it prevents one or two problems, people emotionally get impacted. Thank you.
Councilor Laurie?
I think they used to put an ad in the paper, too, or they would put a public notice in the paper, have it out by a certain date.
That we still do that.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And some of these funds, according to the report, is to be used for tree removal, and so 55 trees to be removed. And I was just curious to know what the cemetery has in place for tree planting program. At first, it was kind of a nice chart here, which talks about down and leaning, but I think that refers to gravestones, not trees.
Correct.
So, you know, not, obviously, I support this. I know you have to cut trees down, they get diseased, they die, but it'd be good to know that there's a replacement program.
We do try to work with Lands and Conservation Trust, I know, and some tree programs across the city, and I believe the cemetery has utilized that, has utilized them in the past to assist with that. Obviously, trees are somewhat of a problem for us at certain locations because of the roots and what they do to the gravestones, but we will we'll follow up on that and perhaps utilize some of this money for that. We were in a fortunate position this year, given the winter weather, that much of the cleanup work can be ongoing now, so that can loosen up additional funding this year for us to do some of the other beautification efforts out there, and the repair efforts, particularly with the monuments.
I don't mean to suggest this isn't an appropriate use of these funds or that it's unnecessary. I just think, you know, there should be some sort of replacement program thought about.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the vote?
I have an answer here. We have
Council
an
Mercer.
answer?
Excuse me, Mr. Moses.
Yeah, we do. They have 3 heavy equipment vehicles that are not street. And those are pretty recent, two from 2001, from 2005. The 4 street vehicles are from 1988, 1995, 1996, and 2001. Now, none of those were on the capital plan for replacement last year. We made the decision to outsource the maintenance, so we didn't know what utilization level was going to be. But I expect that some of those vehicles will be replaced this year.
Okay, thank you.
If there's no further discussion, roll call.
Counselor Nguyen? Counselor Broderick?
Yes.
Counselor Elliott?
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy?
Yes.
Counselor Laurie? Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Madonza?
Yes.
Counselor Mercia?
Yes.
Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 present, 1 absent, excuse me.
Next, we have a vote in City Council, order to hire contractor services to address repair, service, maintenance, tree and stump removal, fencing as needed, ordered by the City Council of the City of Lowell as follows: that the amount of $25,000.00 be transferred from sale of lots fund number 1723 to cemetery professional services appropriation number 049141151-530000, order and recommended and introduced by Bernard F. Lynch. In City Council, second reading, in City Council vote to hire contractor services to address repair, service, maintenance, tree stump removal, fencing as needed. It is ordered that the amount of $25,000 be transferred from sale of lots fund number 1723 to the cemetery professional services appropriation number 049141151-530000. What's the wish of the body? Move for approval by Councilor Broderick, second by Councilor Martin. Roll call, please.
Counselor Nguyen? Counselor Broderick?
Yes.
Counselor Elliott?
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy?
Yes.
Counselor Laurie?
Yes.
Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Madonza?
Yes.
Counselor Mercia?
Yes.
Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 absent.
Next, we have a vote in City Council, ordered by the City Council of the City of Lowell as follows: the amount of $375,000.00 be transferred from free cash general fund to the school appropriation account number 993000035777771, ordered by the City Council of the City of Lowell as follows: that the amount of $1,722,507.00 be transferred from free cash general fund to stabilization fund number 8401, order and recommended by and introduced by Bernard F. Lynch.
Move approval.
Second reading by title. In City Council vote to transfer $375,000 from free cash general fund to school appropriation and to transfer $1,722,507 from free cash general fund to stabilization fund number 8401.
Second.
Move for approval by Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Broderick. Roll call. Excuse me, Councilor Mendoza.
Just for those following along at home, we were told that, and the manager may explain, that this is actually free cash from the school department budget, and we're just returning it to them so that they have an opportunity to use the funds.
That's correct.
Thank you, Council. Any further discussion on the vote? Roll call, please.
Counselor Nguyen?
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
It's
Council.
okay, I was just going to say, do we have to return it?
No.
Is it part of our net school spending, or?
This was money that they had received from in the circuit breaker program, and they had planned out its utilization, but due to the timing in which it came in, the Department of Revenue kicked it over to free cash because it exceeded an amount that they had available
Oh,
in
I
that
see.
line.
Okay.
If it were just general free cash, I wouldn't be recommending.
Thank you.
Even though it's our kids here in the city as well.
That's
Roll call, please.
Counselor Nguyen? Counselor Broderick.
Yes.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Laurie.
Yes.
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Counselor Madonza.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 absent.
Next, we have a resolution as a result of a motion by Councilor Kennedy. In City Council resolution, the City Council of the City of Lowell wishes to be recorded in opposition to proposed cuts in MBTA services as well as significant planned increases in fares. The City Council has grave concerns regarding proposed cuts in certain MBTA services, namely proposed cuts in late night and weekend commuter rail service, as well as proposed cuts of existing bus routes. And the City Council also has grave concerns regarding proposed increases in commuter fares and the impact such significant proposed increases will have on MBTA users. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Lowell as follows: that we, the members of the City Council of the City of Lowell, hereby oppose proposed cuts in MBTA services as well as significant planned increases in fares. This resolution adopted by vote of the City Council of Lowell on the 21st day of February 2012, submitted by the City Council of the City of Lowell. Second reading by title. In City Council resolution, the City Council of the City of Lowell wishes to be recorded in opposition to the proposed cuts in MBTA services as well as significant planned increases in fares.
Move approval.
Move for approval by Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Broderick. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On that very night that the MBTA held a hearing in this chamber, I, along with 2 of my colleagues, we had already committed to the PCC, the Pawtucketville Citizens Council's very important meeting as well. Otherwise, I'm sure the 3 of us would have been here. There's no doubt that we would have expressed our thoughts and been vocal about cutting vital transportation services and increases through negligence created by cost overruns from the Big Dig, etc., that taxpayers must now bear the debt burden. But it doesn't have to be that way. I'm sure that if they look, they could find the money someplace else, less devastating than to take it from the very people that need to travel to jobs, to schools, to hospitals, and to the destination cities and towns. So I add my opposition and objection in support of this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the vote? Roll call, please.
Counselor Nguyen. Counselor Broderick.
Yes.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Laurie.
Yes.
Counselor Martin. Counselor Madonza.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 absent.
Next, we have subcommittee reports. First is the Municipal Facilities Subcommittee report from February 15th, 2012. Councilor Kennedy.
We had a meeting last week with the school committee subcommittee. That meeting was recessed until the school department comes back with some more information, and we'll be meeting again at the beginning of March, and then go on from there. So I just like to record a report of progress. We're making some progress.
Motion by Councilor Kennedy to accept as a report of progress, seconded by Councilor Mercia. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Next, we have a special meeting report from February 16th, 2012. I thought we had a good meeting Thursday night. A number of people came to speak on the issues going on downtown. Number of residents, bar owners, and restaurant owners, as well as the police department. A presentation by the superintendent of police, Ken LaValle, as well as our city manager, Bernard Lynch. A number of recommendations were made at that time. I won't go into those right now, as I think that's better left at a public safety subcommittee so that we can go through these issues one by one. We did express a general sense of support for a number of the recommendations made, and we'll, of course, incorporate those those that the city manager has made, as well as some of them that were made by residents and some of the establishment owners as well. So I think, as I say, it was a good discussion Thursday night, and that we'll make some progress in the subcommittee when we have more information from both the solicitor and the city manager to develop some recommendations for the License Commission. Councilor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I agree. I think it was a good meeting by all accounts. Things were quieter downtown this weekend. Mr. Manager, I did learn that the sheriff's command post vehicle was down right on Merrimack Street. I thought it was this weekend, but you told me it was the last 2 weekends. But when do you anticipate bringing those draft regulations to the Public Safety Subcommittee? We endorsed them, but I think it's, of course, important to follow through. But just in terms of time frame, and I think the motion was made on some issues to delay, and for some issues, and I understand now, you can't rush into these things. In hindsight, cameras, is that the best? Is it affordable? Is it going to really hurt owners, public bar owners, et cetera? So I guess my long-winded question, I'm sorry, is when do you foresee bringing that forward to the subcommittee so we can adopt it and some of those recommendations will actually be implemented?
We hoped actually to have those. We met first thing Friday morning, actually, to go over the draft regulations that you had in front of you, as well as all of the additional suggestions that were raised by the councilors and public, the citizens, the residents, as well as the business owners, taking into consideration some of the issues that you just raised regarding cameras being an expensive proposition. There isn't necessarily a cookie cutter type of a solution here that one size doesn't fit all, that we have to make some accommodations for some of the other different establishments in the city. We followed that up with another meeting today with the solicitor, the chief, myself. We pulled in some information from the city of Boston and some other resources. We hope to have those completed probably sometime early next week, maybe even later this week. The council next week will be having its, I believe it's meeting with the city clerk next Tuesday, so we should have them out for the following packet. With our ideas, and we have some interesting ways to deal with that issue of the one size doesn't fit all. That I think the commission will find helpful, as well as certainly the city council.
So is it safe to say, anticipating the receipt of those regulations, is there a public hearing process? Do those recommendations go to licensing commission, and that has a public hearing process? So, I mean, there is a little bit of time frame. We're looking at maybe, implement these regulations, 3 to 4 weeks at the.
I would guess somewhere probably maybe more like 5 to 6, because we'll bring them back to the council. The council will hash them out with a number of ideas, and then I would think pass them on as a vote of the council to the License Commission, which would then hold hearings. I believe that would be the process that they would follow, and the solicitor can jump in here. But that would be the process they would use, vote those, and then they would be put into effect.
Okay. So it's not the council. I mean, I know we went over this.
Right.
That's delegated to the licensing authority, and we don't have, we have no say over those proposed regulations, do we?
No, and we're trying to take the License Commission's input into consideration on this as well.
Councilor Broderick, and then
Thank you.
Councilor Kennedy.
Thank you. It was an excellent meeting, great report. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the manager. In putting these guidelines together, is there a way we could do this with, say, the cameras in the closing at 1 o'clock? Rather than making it a penalty to have to put the camera in, maybe make it a permissive action by the License Commission not to have to put it in. In other words, if you can apply to be able to stay open past 1 o'clock, as opposed to a punitive action to restrict it back to 1 o'clock. I don't know if that would help, and I'm throwing this out, it didn't come up last week, but if it would be helpful in terms of, we obviously have the issue of, you know, where the problems came from. You know, how many complaints we've had, or reports we've had versus how many are brought in before the commission. So if that, I was just, you know, kind of, I'm just throwing that out there. Is it a possibility to say, look, we had a number of folks that came down and said, this is going to hurt our business. We have nothing to do with this. We're not near it. There's never been any problem. But is it going to be, would it be easier for the commission to have more control if it's we'll permit you to stay open past 1, but everyone's at 1 o'clock, maybe with a special permit or whatever, and the cameras, a similar thing, and maybe some other things as well, but I'm just throwing that out there.
That's essentially, that we were looking at that as sort of some general conditions and some special permit conditions that would, you could go a couple of different ways, waivers or special permissions, right?
Okay.
That's what we're looking at.
Thank you.
Councilor Kennedy.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I think that what Councilor Broderick is talking about is an excellent way to handle it. And I'd like to see that with every single one of the recommendations, if we could, if that's reasonable. But also, too, I think that you've mentioned that you had a meeting the day after the last Friday, and then you had another meeting this week as well. For subsequent meetings, I really think it's important that the License Commission be included in the meetings. I mean, they're a major player in how this is going to work going forward, and I would like to see Mr. Arcasian invited to the meeting, or at the very least, if they aren't available when you have the meetings, then Ryan Wynn from the License Commission. But the License Commission should be, and I think everybody would be, I think it promotes a spirit of cooperation if they're included too, rather than to be told afterwards, after all the meetings have taken place and the decisions have been made, to just be told what we'd like to see happen. It's way better if they're just involved all the way through.
Yeah,
Mr. Manager.
and perhaps I wasn't clear on that when I said that we were taking their input into consideration. We're working on the means to have that taken in so there's buy-in right up front, without, at the same time, the issue of the open meeting law, bringing them in. So a representative or something along those lines is exactly what we're looking at.
Well, that's why I suggested just Mr. Arcasian or Ryan Wynn is just one, and then I don't think you run into a problem with the open meeting law, right? Okay, thank you.
Councilor Laurie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No, not to beat a dead horse, but before that meeting adjourned, we took the final vote, I did ask the commissioners if they had any questions or anything to add, and I know Commissioner Weicker did, and I specifically asked would they be involved, and the answer was yes. Because of the amount of people who were involved that night, would we have a special meeting again, or would that just be part of a council meeting?
We can look at either
There were
option,
quite a
but-
few people here, and just because of the size of the crowd, I don't know if you'd consider another meeting.
Yeah, well, I think the plan would be to bring the recommendations to the Public Safety Subcommittee to discuss them in further, and then to refer it back to probably a regular meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Councilor Broderick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. But that's a good point by Councilor Laurie. And obviously, the public is invited to attend, and it will be advertised, and they will be welcome to speak, and we'll make sure we set off a block of time. And if we have to, we can, if we only get through half of the agenda, we can take it up, the following night, or we'll set aside plenty of time to get through it all.
We can probably plan the subcommittee for the same time as the special meeting took place. Any further discussion on this report? Motion to accept as a report of progress by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Mendonça. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Next, we have a flood subcommittee report from today, February 21st, 2012. Councilor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Sorry about that. The Flood Subcommittee met tonight to discuss, so actually just get an update from the city manager. We hadn't met in quite some time, and there are quite a bit of communications, comment periods, letters from National Park and FERC. So there has been some activity taking place, so the subcommittee met to get an update on it. We had Council Mercier and Council Laurie on the subcommittee, and the manager with the city solicitor was in attendance. Council Joe Mendonça was also there. We had some neighborhood leaders as well, and Lisa DeMayo from the engineer's office. And I have to say, it was a good meeting. The manager and the solicitor kind of gave a recap of where we've been, where we are, where we're going, and what the status of the project is, or the project being the application for a bladder dam, a crest gate dam at the historic falls. So I don't know where to start because it's, we're all over the place. But essentially, what has happened, or the current status is, FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, is in the process of mitigating an Boot Hydro's proposal for a Crestgate Dam and trying to bring some agreement to with the National Park Service on the historic considerations or concerns from the national park. They have opposed, the park has opposed, and the city has supported the national park in opposition to putting in a Crestgate Dam based upon what it will do to the historical significance of that dam. The manager did report that FERC has given an additional 45 days for this mitigation to take place between the two parties, and we did ask the solicitor, if there is no agreement, if there is no compromise, what is the next step? And it's almost anyone's guess. FERC could require additional public hearings over the Crestgate proposal, or a decision could be made, or there could be additional or further review. So that's really the status of it. We talked about the culverts and the implication or the impact that may have or may not have. We talked about the height of the dam again, and the Wang agreement, and the concerns with the height and the inability to drain that mill pond during either high periods of rain or seasonal melt. So we just recessed pending what takes place in mid-March. That's the 45-day deadline that FERC has given. So we'll have a little bit more information as to what will take place after that time. So that's a report of progress, Mr. Mayor. And I thought it was a good meeting. I thought it was a good update for the people in the flood area. We also spoke about one more item, the Rosemont Terrace area. The manager gave an update on the status of that, and we still need funding. Of course, the whole thing is funding to do a study in that particular area, as well as funding for a study of the culvert issue. So again, that was a report of progress, and we recessed the meeting, and when further information comes available, we'll meet again. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any discussion on the report? A motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Broderick, seconded by Councilor Mendonça. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. And finally, under subcommittee reports, we have the Finance Subcommittee report from today, February 21st, 2012. Councilor Mendonça.
Yes, the subcommittee did meet to go over the second quarter budget report. Present were myself and members Councilor Broderick, Councilor Elliott, Councilor Martin. Also present were Councilors Mercier, Councilor Laurie, and Mayor Murphy. And from the administration, we had City Manager Lynch, our CFO Tom Moses, and our auditor Cheryl Wright. We went over each of the sections of the report. Overall, the report was that we're basically on target, so there are no really big surprises. The revenues at the end of the second quarter were higher than anticipated, but that's only because we received revenues early that were anticipated during the year, and that will level off during the rest of the year. We were informed that although sick time buyback from part of the city had been low at the end of the second quarter. Several employees have taken advantage of the situation and, their rights, and have bought more or had the city buy back some of the sick time, but still below our budget, and we should be nearly done with that for the year, so that will stay within budget. We also looked at it was over expense in the police department fuel account and the library, and it was explained that even though the fuel account, they've had, as we all know, the fuel is higher priced, and they've had to spend more, but they're still within the margin where they'll be able to handle it within the police department budget by internal transfers. The library expenses were a little high as well, but that's because they used our regular budget for purchases that would be done with grant funds. Going forward, they'll use the grant funds, not local dollars, and it should even out through the year. In the enterprise funds, the wastewater, as we've projected all along, is running a deficit. They have increased their revenues by handling more of the hauled waste, but it has narrowed that deficit slightly, but more work needs to be done there. In the case of parking and water, they're on target, and for the foreseeable future, the surplus funds, or reserve funds actually, not surplus, are stable, so the foreseeable future being the 5-year forecast. And there was, in the wastewater enterprise fund, there was a request to provide an estimate of what rate increase we would need to balance the fund in the future. And also there was a case made that we'd much prefer to have smaller rate increases rather than one huge rate increase when it was absolutely necessary to balance the fund. And that's the report of progress.
Thank you, Council. Council Laurie?
I don't know if I could really ask this question, because it concerns the gas, the price of gas. Has the cities and towns of the state ever looked into buying in bulk? And not just because of the cost going up now. Yeah, I'm concerned about the availability for the summer, the way they're talking for the fire trucks, the police cruisers and things.
Some communities do buy as part of a pool. I think we've looked at that here in the past, and it hasn't been as economical as what we're getting ourselves. But it's always something. I know that when I was the manager over in Chelmsford, we used to buy with a consortium of other cities and towns.
Any further discussion on the report? Move for approval by Councilor Broderick, seconded by Councilor Mercia. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilor Broderick.
Thank you. If I could just announce that we're going to schedule a personnel subcommittee meeting to review the manager's goals and objectives that were presented to us a while back. We've had some other meetings come up for next Thursday, Mr. Manager. It's 6:30. If that works, it works for 2 members. I thought maybe we could check before we leave.
Mr. Manager.
No pressure.
Checking my calendar. First, I have to put on my glasses. That's the 20.
The first, actually, March 1st.
I can do that. We have some collective bargaining later that night, so that's fine.
Thank you.
6:30?
6:30, yeah.
Could we do it a little bit earlier, so maybe it's 6?
5:30, 6 o'clock? Is that? I'm open, so say 5:30.
5:30.
Is that it, Councilor Kennedy?
So we'll have a personnel subcommittee at 5:30 on March 1st, on a Thursday. Any other announcement? Councilor Mendonça.
Regarding meeting times, we still on target to have a special meeting next week on Tuesday rather than a regular meeting, and is it the clerk that we're bringing up at that meeting?
Right. The clerk will be the focus of the next special meeting. So I would encourage anyone that has a specific item that they'd like to see on the agenda to just get in touch with me before, noontime on Friday. And I'll work with the clerk to develop an agenda for the following Tuesday.
Should we send them directly to the clerk as regular, or is it till noon? Just so everyone has an understanding, it's a new process, so we...
Right. I'm not sure exactly how we'll work at this time, because they're not exactly motions. And so I would say that it would be, because it's considered a special meeting, that you can get in touch with me, and I'll work with the clerk to develop that agenda.
Thank you.
Any further questions on that item? Okay, we'll move to the motions section of the agenda. Last motion by Mayor Murphy and Councilor Broderick. Request the city manager explore the potential expansion of the Lowell Stat program to analyze public safety, quality of life, and economic indicators in the downtown and neighborhood business districts. Seconded by Councilor Kennedy. Councilor Broderick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It somewhat speaks for itself. We heard a lot of interesting comments and a lot of feedback last week at the special meeting relative to the downtown. Not only the public safety issue, but also economic impact and genuine quality of life issues from residents. And rather than just bring this forward in terms of for the downtown, there are other neighborhoods. Obviously, we're a city of neighborhoods, so if we can expand that out, and this is not to usurp reporting authority or anything from the police department, but in an effort to help us get some centralized data, but also so the motion speaks for itself primarily in that respect. But Mr. Manager, last week we had our subcommittee between the schools and the city council, the joint subcommittee, and it came up about bringing the work orders into the city stat program, and I think the key here is that it's not a program like computer program. It's a one-person program that's in charge of all of the data collection and analysis and meeting with department heads and so on. And I asked this question, you were not here. I asked this of, I think, Mr. Moses and Mr. Herbert, at what point do we have to take on more costs, whether it's buying programming, software? I think Mr. Herbert mentioned some software that might be available for work order stuff. But this here, I don't know if this could be a software issue, potentially issue that we could help with, or are we looking at, and that's why this says explore the potential, because there may be some costs. I don't know if we're going to have to expand that staff or what the situation is, but after hearing the feedback last week, and talking to Mayor Murphy, we both thought it was important to at least analyze it and take a look. Thank you.
Mr. Manager.
I'll have to do some work on this, but the work order system is a little bit different than the stat program in that in the computer, the software we're looking at there, and we've been looking at it, and Mr. Herbert's involved in this because it ties into the stat program, and he's the natural to kind of do some of the work on this along with the MIS people and Public Works. They've been looking at some different options to improve that, the way we manage that system. This resolution, or this motion, speaks more to, I guess a parallel would be in Somerville. I think they have a neighbor stat program, something of that sort. So we'll look at that and see. I wouldn't see this necessarily as being a software-driven cost. If there's any cost to this, it would be staffing probably above all else. But we'll take a look at it and see if there's something that, and see if it makes sense for the city to move in this direction.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Councilor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Doesn't public safety collect data at this point?
They do.
So why are we going to duplicate services? I mean, I hear additional staff, and I'm not going to support putting another person to collect data in the city. That makes no sense. I don't know what economic indicator, what quality of life issues we're going to analyze, but if this means more staff, I don't think that makes any sense in the world to start. We have so many other priorities. police and code enforcement is enough in itself there. So to suggest that we need to get more data to analyze more things downtown, I mean, it's kind of simple. We need police, and we need police. So, and we collect public safety data now. I mean, I think they have more than one. How many staff people over there, Mr. Manager? Do you know? I see grant positions and crime analysts and data entry.
Right, there is that goes on. I don't have a head count number on that. They have a number of analysts in the police department that analyze all the crime data, and that's where they have a very robust CompStat program that I think has been very successful with the police department. And you know, that's CompStat was the model which CityStat was based upon, and CityStat, of course, has rolled out beyond Baltimore to a number of communities, including Lowell now, with our single stat person. Again, I think that this needs more work. I'm just responding to I would just be responding to a motion at this point as to how this can be utilized. I mean, I do think that there's value that we've already recognized in the way we've deployed resources. And I think in terms of, just going back to the police department for a second, the issue there is that our police officers are more productive on the ground now because of the civilian backup that they have doing that analysis. And that, I think, is, the value of a stat program. But again, I'm just responding to a motion here.
Okay, I understand, but if I understand the motion, we're looking at software, we're looking at more, more responsibilities, adding more data, and I don't support that, so, thank you.
I think the motion says potential, but Councilor Broderick.
Thank you. Yeah, this is just to take a look at it. And I understand Councilor Elliott's reservation here in terms of adding staffing, but there's also potential to leverage ourselves here, maybe pull in an intern or two. We have the university here. People over there, I'm sure, are qualified and, maybe looking for internships. And it's also, the indicators to me, that means to try and stay ahead a little bit so that we don't have, 250 people down here complaining about how bad things are. So it's not to usurp or duplicate, and I understand, and that's why I said potential, is for you to take a look and see if there's any use. And you may come back and say there is no use, or it'll be too expensive, but I think that if we should at least explore it, see what we have out there for resources. It doesn't necessarily mean spend money, that's why I brought it up. But I think that it may be a better way to coordinate this and come up with proactive, maybe some suggestions. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed?
No.
So voted. 8 yeas, 1 nay. At this point, entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved by Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Laurie. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? That was unanimous. Good night.